Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast.
Good morning and happy Memorial Day. Welcome to the Ordinary Daily version of the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast. Bet you were wondering, is he going to do a podcast today? It's Monday. He usually does a podcast on Monday, but it's Memorial Day, so it's a holiday. Maybe he'll take the day off. Not taking the day off. We are here. Happy Memorial Day to you, to all you guys out there. Here we are, guys. It's Monday. It's 62 days left to Ironman Lake Placid. Really kind of bearing down now on training. Had a pretty decent weekend, pretty strange in ways, but overall I think successful. You know, we'll talk about it, and you guys can help me decide whether or not I should look at it at a positive light, which I think I am, or whether it's just a sign of a lot more work to do. So we talked on Friday, and on Friday I did my upper body training. I did my yoga. I think it was day 26 or 27, I forget. But rolling through that 30-day yoga journey, we're almost at the end there. Probably going to do another episode today of the yoga journey, get another day done. Feeling good, I got to tell you. So I did my long run Saturday, did a long bike yesterday. Feeling pretty good. Now let's talk about why and the things that happened. Now I set out on Saturday with a path in mind, and we talked about this a little bit on Friday. So the path in mind was to get to the park, and there's a spot about 5.5 miles into the run where I can make a choice. I can either turn around and come back home, which would make my run 5 + 5, 11 miles, which is good. I would have taken that. Or I could keep going into the park where you wind up going down a huge hill, and when you go down a huge hill, it means you got to come back up one. So there are big hills, two in particular, that I wanted to conquer on this run. And I kind of felt like if I got to the 5.5 mile point and I felt good, we're going for the hills. And if I got to the 5.5 mile point and I just felt like, yeah, we just want to get home, we're going to turn around and go home. And lately, my runs, every time I get to like mile 2 or mile 3, I start getting calf pain, I start feeling crappy, and I just kind of like give up. Not that I give up, but I know right away that it's going to be a bad run. And it is. Usually it's right. Usually whenever I feel, mile 2 or 3 and I feel exhausted or pain, I know that that's a sign that this run is not going to go well, and it usually doesn't. But Saturday I felt great. No kind of calf pain those first few miles. I stopped at the convenience store, I was hydrated. I stopped in the park and filled my water bottle with water at the water fountain, which might have been one of my problems now that I think about it. But yeah, I mean, I was feeling good. I was running at a decent, probably 10.5 to 11 minute mile pace, which is kind of where I wanted to be. And it got to that 5.5 mile mark in the park, and I was like, you know what? I'm doing the hills. I feel great doing the hills. So I went down into the park and did these 2 big giant hills. Finished up with that second one, and I was feeling that second one that hill's a bitch. That hill, you get to the top of that hill, and it's exhausting. You're shuffled by the end of that hill. You're shuffling up those last few steps, and it is. You feel exhausted. You feel like you should kind of like, yeah, you accomplished it. Give me a medal, and I'm done with the race. But what you learn doing these hills is that you learn after you can crest that hill. Just take those first few steps and keep pushing forward, and running those next few steps, and you get it back. You'll get it back once you kind of run a little bit further. And I did that. I got to mile 6, mile 7, feeling good. Mile 7.5 is the mobile station I stop at for water, and I stopped and I went in. Legs were feeling great, and I'm thinking of actually in my mind, I'm actually thinking of ways that I can extend the run to make it 14 or 15 miles. And that's kind of when I had my first hint of there was some other issue going on. And we'll call it, how am I going to put this? We'll call it digestive. How about that? Well, that's like the nicest word I can think of. We'll call it I had the very first hint of a potential digestive issue. Thought about alleviating that pressure in the at the mobile station, and I was like, kind of dirty. It's not really my thing. But it wasn't too bad. It just felt like it could get worse. So I left the mobile station, at mile 7.5, kept running, got to mile 8, 8.25, started feeling the pressure a little bit more, that digestive pressure. And I knew right around 8.5 miles, I knew this was going to be a problem. And at 8.75 miles on the watch, I had to stop. There was like, if I took one more step, there was going to be an issue. And I was looking at the woods at some point. I was like, oh, there's some woods. I could go in there. And then I kept thinking about like all these articles you read about like people finding people like doing bad things, especially runners doing these types of things in places they shouldn't be doing. And who knows, there's someone, my luck, they'll be like someone has like one of those cameras in the woods to like snap pictures of animals, and they'll get a picture of me and I'll be all over the internet. I don't need that. So I just stopped running. Now, Stephanie was out of town, not out of town. She was out of town. She was shopping with her mother. She was nowhere near being able to pick me up. I thought about like the people that I knew in the area and whether or not I could knock on their door, say hello. But in the end, I kind of felt like that wasn't an option for me. It was a little over 2-mile walk home. And every time I tried to run to get there faster, it was not good. It would make it even worse. So you don't know what it's like to walk 2.25 miles, squeezing your butt cheeks the entire way until you've done it. And it's not fun. But, ultimately I made it. I made it home. Legs felt good. Solved the issue. So look, I ran 8.75 miles. I walked 2.25 miles to get home. So 11 miles total. I don't know. I almost feel like you should count those 2.25 miles as part of the run, because of the circumstances. But what else was I supposed to do? And I'm kind of giving myself a positive review on this run for the sheer sake of choosing the hills, going through them, feeling great. I felt great at mile 7.5. I felt good at mile 8. The only issue was the other issue that I was having. And so overall, I'm going to take this as a successful run. I have no other choice. Given the circumstances, I'm going to take it as a successful run. I felt good. I feel like in the end, this is a beneficial run for me. I did the hills. I ran 8.75 miles, which is nothing to sneeze at. No, it's not. I kind of picture like 10 miles as like that threshold for long run. Anything over 10 miles, I can consider a long run. I really would, especially as we get closer to race day, I'd rather do like a 15 to 17 mile run. That would make me feel a lot better. But for now, I'm going to take this 8.75 and I'm going to be happy with it. I don't know what you guys would do. That's what I'm doing. I'm choosing to stay positive and optimistic with this one. I know, and normally you guys, if you've been around, I'm usually more cynical and angry at myself that I didn't finish. But this week I'm taking this as a positive. I'm going to take it as a positive. Yesterday we got out on the bike. Now I went to bed at 9:15 on Saturday, on a Saturday night, 9:15 in bed. That's dedication. But I had to be back at noon on Sunday. So I got out, the alarm rang at 5. I kind of hit snooze a little bit, but I was up at 5:30, got ready for the bike ride. I got in the car at 6:30 and I was on the trail by 7. That's a good start. I did just shy of 50 miles, which is kind of what I wanted. 48.5 miles, something like that. The pace was a little slow, 15.5. I was kind of hoping for something better. But knowing that I had run the day before made me feel a little bit better about it. And I had a couple issues on the trail that hurt my time. I lost my water bottles. They fell off the bike. Any of you guys have had that happen to you? It's frustrating and annoying. You have to stop and go back and get them. One of them fell in a ravine. I lost that thing. I got to the end of the trail. I decided I wanted to explore a little bit because I wanted to get to 50 miles. So I wanted to get to... on the first, I want to go down and back. So I wanted to get to 25 miles on the way down. I was at about 23.5. And there's a sign that says the trail goes left. So I went left. And the trail, I was on the wrong road. I should have been across the street. I didn't know this until I saw some runners. But I'm on the other side of the street and it's blacktop. It was horrible blacktop. And there were bad bumps. And I had to go really slow. And then it just abruptly ends. And then there's just street. So it's like, the road, it just ends, and then I find myself in the street. There's traffic. I'm like, oh, crap. Like, what am I going to do? I had to stop, turn around, ride the bike. I wait for traffic, then ride the bike up the hill. I feel like that just really put a kink in my time. So I'm not really going to be upset about it. Now, and I did this down and back a couple months ago at 16.3, an average of 16.3. And I think that this time on the way down, I wasn't really focused on, I didn't look at my watch at all. I knew how far it was. I was just trying to kind of pedal and pay a little bit of attention to my cadence. I tell you, this trail is actually a little bit tricky. I don't know if any of you guys ever heard the term false flat. Basically, a lot of this trail looks really flat. It's just not. It's very deceptive. So you feel, like you're going flat, but you definitely feel the pressure in your legs as if you're going uphill. And your speed, if you look at it, it definitely reflects that you're going uphill, even though it doesn't look like you're going uphill. It's a little bit annoying, but it makes it a little bit more challenging than just a straight down and back. There are a couple hills. Overall, it's like, in 50 miles, it was like 900 and something feet of elevation, which is not Lake Placid, right? Lake Placid is probably about 7,000 or 8,000 feet of elevation total. So half of that, 3,500 to 4,000 feet of elevation over, 50 plus miles. So it's a little, it's definitely sure. It's not Lake Placid that I'm going on, but it's not totally flat. It's not Maryland. Maryland's like nothing. So there is some hill practice there. And I take these hills hard too. When I hit the hills, I'm not like I am in Lake Placid where I click it into the granny gear, which is like your easiest gear, and just, take it easy as easy as you can going up the hill. It's more like when I hit these hills, I push and I try not to gear down. I try to leave it in my gear as much as I can so that I can get that intensity and get that work done, which I did. So I feel really good about the bike ride. My back did hurt a little bit at the end of this ride, which is a little concerning because that was one of the reasons I had to bail other than not practicing. It was one of the reasons I had to bail last year. Just going up those hills like destroyed my lower back. And I have a spot and it's like a knot or something. And it never goes away. It just doesn't. And I probably should treat it a little bit better. I probably should go like heating pads and I don't know what else I could do with it. But I need something. I can feel it too. It's like this big ball of something on my back. But it hurts after, and the interesting thing is I rode with Laura a couple weeks ago. We rode about 65 miles and the back didn't hurt at all. Now we went a little bit slower. I don't think I did a long run the day before. But the back felt fine a few weeks ago doing, pretty much the same ride, just a little bit slower. And so maybe it's the exertion, maybe it's the fact that I ran the day before. I don't know. But it's just something it's in the back of my mind now. Is a little concerning because I'm not screwing around this year. I'm going to have to overcome that pain if it hits, especially if it hits early. It's going to be hard, but I have to overcome this. Now, I didn't do any kind of brick workout. I haven't done like a long brick at all during training, and I really have to do something like that coming in the next few weeks, which is going to be tough. Now, I got off the bike and I got in the car and I felt okay. The back was hurting a little bit, but I started driving away and I felt like, I don't know, I felt like I could get out and do a half marathon. I felt like, all right, I'm doing the 70.3 Ironman in a couple weeks and I'm thinking to myself, my legs feel fine. Like I feel like I could get out and do a half marathon right now and it wouldn't be a problem. And then I stopped at the convenience store for a Gatorade and when I get a Cliff Bar or some kind of protein bar. And I stopped and I got out of the car and I was just walking funny. I think it's more, and a lot of it's like just the time in the saddle. Like you're just in the saddle for so long and that pressure is like from sitting in that saddle and pedaling the whole time. So yeah, my legs hurt. Yeah, my bum was killing me and I was walking funny. I don't know. I didn't know how to register that. I felt like here I was in the car thinking, oh yeah, I can do a half marathon after this. And then here I am 2 seconds later in the convenience store going, oof, like walking funny. So, that just means brick workouts in my future. Got to do that. Got to get those in. And I feel good about it. But right now, I got to tell you, with 62 days left, I'm starting to feel pretty good about where I am. And, knowing that the ultimate goal is just to finish and to see Sam's face when I finish for her. I feel good. You know, we did, I think Stephanie and I were talking, and we're working on a lot of new things for the Ordinary Marathoner brand, I guess. We're going to be doing a lot more video. I got this little jammy for my GoPro. I got to stick the GoPro in there. We're going to try to do a little more filming in the next couple weeks. Build up the YouTube channel a little bit more with, as opposed to just seeing my ugly mug behind a microphone all the time. We're going to try to get some more videos up there. I'm working on the video. You can't even see it now, but it's behind here. I'm working on the video from the Ordinary Marathon, just kind of like that mashup video that we did, the slideshow from last year. We're doing a new version. About, I don't know, maybe a third of the way. I got a bulk of the heavy load, the heavy work done. Now it's just a matter of matching the pictures that we want in the actual slideshow. So that's going to be coming out soon. Looking forward to that. We're going to have our giveaway for early registration for next year's Ordinary Marathon. I got a conference call tomorrow night with Nick Cumbo from Ascension, and we're going to talk about that and trying to get you guys some more prizes. I think that's like our bread and butter. I like giving you guys stuff. I don't do like reviews. I don't do that stuff. I just like giving you guys stuff. So maybe that's why my audience doesn't grow, is because you guys know if you spread the word, then more people will have chances to win stuff. And that's an interesting thought. I got to keep that in mind. Anyway, congratulations also, before we go here, congratulations to Nick, who I butcher your last name all the time, Nick Nick, I'm sorry, dude. I love you, bro. You're always listening. Ran a full marathon, ran the Ottawa, and so did Christian Lee. Nick Dayalt. How about that? Dayalt. I'm going to go with that. That's right, isn't it? I got freaking Ryan Chikuski right the other day on my first attempt, and I'm never going to get your name right. And Christian Lee, also congratulations, finishing the Ottawa Marathon this past weekend. Great job, guys. Really impressive. Anyway, with that, let's just sign off for the day. Hope you guys have a great Memorial Day, and remember, every day's an ordinary day unless you make it extraordinary. So get after it, guys.
Remember to like our video and subscribe to our channel.